Good morning. Welcome to the last DECM of the term of 2020-2021. I'm your district director, Bette Bolhofer. I am so excited to welcome you all to the June DECM, and the theme is Finish Strong. Yeah, we just have less than 30 days, 25 days left to really do wonderful things. And so I just want to thank you all. Let's look at our mission. We build new clubs and we help all clubs achieve excellence. Remember that we have integrity, respect, service, and excellence. I think it's a really good time to remember that we are here with integrity. Really important, because as we're looking at dashboards, we might get a little excited. Some people might get excited, but remember, we're not here to pay for members that are not real members. If the person is not genuinely trying to get the benefits of Toastmasters, they shouldn't be a member. So putting on pressure on people to join multiple clubs, or we just need more and more member, I think this is where the integrity really is a critical part. Let's all step it up and make sure that every member who joins Toastmasters is there for the right reasons, which is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered. Yeah, to develop communication and leadership skills, developing in greater self-confidence and personal growth. So I want us all to remember that. Finish strong, but finish with integrity, respect. Respect is really important when club officers aren't answering us and they're exhausted and they're Zoom fatigued. We have to respect, bring up the respect. Service, ask, how can we help? How can we help? And then excellence, still get that agenda filled out a week before, if not 2 weeks. Prepare for our speeches, right? We're here to do the best we can. So that's our opening today. Remember to rename yourself. Let's look at our agenda. Packed. I only have a 5-minute opening and I've already used 2 minutes of it. George is going to go over logistics around Zoom. I know everyone's like very panicked around Zoom, and are the Zoom accounts going to die or what's going to happen? He's going to go over that. We have Michael Notaro here. Michael, are you online right now? Okay, he's going to give us a great speech today to help us finish strong. Then we're going to go over district bucks and how we're doing with profit and loss with Abe and Linda. We're going to meet the new incoming team, and then we have a table topics 1 to 2 minute speech. If anyone goes over, you're very much clapped off. I will click the mute button because we really are tight on time today. And then we have division breakouts, and this is a time for the divisions to go together and meet the new incoming members, and also to talk about final plans for the year. So I'm going to now switch to a different slide set because I have exciting celebrations. So the first thing is that we are actually #1 in 2 aspects of around the whole region. And this is actually very, very impressive. So I am super proud of us. Good job, everyone. Woo! Okay, next celebration is we had 97% of our club visit reports submitted. Yay!
Woo, really good.
Okay. And you know what's also amazing is I didn't get any calls at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. or even 11 p.m. asking, where do I submit club visit reports? That was really special. I was very thankful. And I had my phone right next to me just in case anyone needed to call me. But thank you all for working so hard to gain those visit reports in. Those actually really help us to know how the clubs are doing and how we can support. We started 7 new clubs. Woo! That's amazing during a pandemic. Wonderful job. And now I'm going to turn over to Sally for exactly 30 seconds to actually give us the real numbers on open house. And I'm going to stop sharing. 30 seconds, Sally.
All right, 30 seconds. Toastmasters. We had 91, count them, 91 eligible open houses. And that doesn't count the 15 or so open houses that happened that didn't quite meet the eligibility, but were still open houses that clubs put on. So congratulations. Those are the numbers I'm going to share in my 30 seconds, fellow Toastmasters.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Sally. We know how to talk fast around here. And Lindy, another fast talker, tell us the stats on how we did with pathways.
Thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. I challenged all the clubs to find out how many pathways levels they could achieve in the last 2 months, in April and May. and 54 clubs rose to the challenge. But the big winners were East Bay Toastmasters with an additional 8 pathways levels, and City Speech Toastmasters with an additional 15 just in those 2 months. So well done to those 2 clubs and their vice presidents of pathways.
Wow, that is just incredible. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I hope you do give a lessons learned. Okay, great. And next up is I want to share the top 10 people, area directors who submitted their club reports. So please take a look at this slide for the top 10. And I had to analyze the data because things were flying in for everywhere. And so Winnie, of course, she was the first one, and I let her give that speech a few months ago to share how she did that. Michelle, Dana, Sabhush, I'm sorry, I probably said it wrong. Debbie, Vivica or Vicky, Bhaskar, Ashley, Supriya, and Mark Ventura, which if you are carefully watching, Mark is actually a division director, but he actually stepped in for his missing area director who had to step down because of family reasons. And he did those reports before most other people. So let's give everyone a round of applause. Good job, everyone. And now I have used up more than my time, and I'm going to turn it over to George, who will be sharing his own slides and doing some really fun things. Take it away, George Marshall, our incoming district director and current PQD.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Logistic, this is going to be a miscellaneous set of things we're going to talk about, all important. Here's the first question, as I get this one a lot. People ask us a lot of questions. What's going to happen next year? And it all boiled down to, George, I know you have a crystal ball. Tell me when the pandemic will be over, right? Does anyone know? Well, we're going to do a little quiz right now, right here. So if you mouse up to the top of your screen, you see a set of controls. One of them is annotate. So go up the top of your screen, click annotate, and choose like stamp or draw or something like that. Now what I want you to do is tell me your opinion of when you think the pandemic will be totally over, no restrictions. Not just random governor announcements, but no restrictions. So click on one of those months or say later. I'll give you a little bit of time here. Let's a straw poll here. What do we think is going to happen? 0 restrictions. I'm going to ask you a different kind of question in a minute. Yeah. Oh, July. Bang, 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 bang. All right. Someone putting in multiple stars. September, October, August, December, January, May, scribbling all over June, and a whole pot full of later. Okay, I can see that we don't quite have a consensus on when the pandemic is over. Well, I'm glad you did that because I don't know either. All right, let's stop on that one now. I'm gonna clear. All right, now I got another question for you. Stop that, George. Oops, okay. All right, now in your personal opinion, when would you personally be comfortable with doing in-person club and district meetings? Again, this is no longer what you think the official word is going to be, but when you personally, regardless of what the governor says, would feel comfortable with going to your club meeting or district meetings, like trainings or like DECMs or the conference. And right now, July, August, September, December, January, February, April, May, June, even later. Wow, okay. We have people with very different opinions on this because it's not just a matter of does it seem to be all right according to the legal rules, but what's your personal level of comfort, vaccination or not, what kind of people you hang out with. Okay, so again, we're not having a lot of consensus. We've got people all over the map here. Depends on if all vaccinated. There you go. I want one of you to bring out your magic wand and convince everyone to go get vaccinated, okay? Or convince everyone to feel good about what everyone else did. Okay, thank you, thank you. That's what I want to, the point I wanted to make here was that we don't really know yet, do we? Okay, that's enough of those. We don't really know yet. So going on. So we don't know for sure. We're going to keep watching the situation. Stop stamping, please. In the meantime, here's the key thing I want to leave you with. We will continue providing Zoom sessions for club meetings as long as there are any restrictions. At some point, somewhere down the line, if there's no legal restriction at all and you still want to meet online, that'd be fine, but you'll be needing to cover that somehow yourself. District functions are going to stay online for now. So when we start out our DECMs in the new year, we will still be online initially. And we'll change that when it seems safe, and we'll update you as we go. We'll keep you updated as we go. So that's all I can tell you. You notice I don't have a specific date on there because we've just got to pay attention to what's going on. So now I am going to drop my share, turn it back over to Beth to introduce our special guest speaker.
Oh, wow. That was so fast. I actually was thinking it was going to be a much longer set of things. I also am very disappointed. I thought you had a crystal ball, and now I find that, you know, you didn't have one, but that's okay. We'll continue. All right, let's now bring up Michael Notaro. Do you guys see him? I don't see his video on. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So the illustrious Michael Notaro, who is actually the reason I'm serving today, because I was doing a table topic contest, just enjoying my non-Toastmaster. I mean, I was in Toastmasters, but non-district leader Toastmasters role. I had been area governor back in the old days, an area division director. And then I was just enjoying my life, competing, doing all those fun things. And he walked up to me and said, "We need someone to run for club growth director. And you have what it takes." And he said some inspirational things, I'm sure. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm enjoying my life right now. But you know what? I looked at my career and I was like, I really need to learn more. I need to push myself. I'm too comfortable. And so I went and I told him, like, yes, I'm ready. What do I do? And he told me the things. I didn't know anyone here, not a single soul in this district, because I was new. And I am so thankful. And so Michael is a past international president. You know how we all have our club presidents? Well, this is like 7 more layers up the pipeline. And he also has a best-selling book called The Call of the Leader, which I highly recommend everyone go get on Amazon. And so now I would like you all to pay attention to Finish Strong by Michael Notaro. Finish Strong by Michael Notaro.
Oh, Toastmasters, let's give a big hand for Bet Ballhofer and the entire team doing a fantastic job. And Bet, I am so grateful that you said yes. And our district has benefited. We've all benefited. What I want to challenge you to do this morning is to think about finishing strong. How many people here would like to finish strong? I don't know about you, but I love watching professional basketball. Now, the Warriors are out of the tournament, but it's still wonderful to watch teams during the last 2 minutes of a game. Have you noticed what happens? Everything kind of speeds up. They're running a little bit faster. They're jumping a little bit higher. They're a little bit quicker trying to get the ball around people. The whole game speeds up in the last quarter because everybody's thinking about the end. And in the Toastmasters world, we have a beginning and we have an end. We have a fiscal year that runs from July 1 to June 30th. And in just how many days will that year be over? 25.
Okay, 25.
25, Lindy.
Whoops.
Now, some of you are feeling like, I can hardly wait. Some of you are chomping at the bit. I have found there are 3 types of Toastmaster leaders. There are those that are coasting. Some of you might know some folks that are just coasting. Now, the problem with coasting is it's always running downhill. And coasting means that you do the absolute minimum. Back in the days when men used to wear suits, we called them the empty suits. Or maybe the empty dresses. A person holding a position, but not really doing too much. And I know that you're not coasters because you wouldn't be here this morning if you were a coaster. Then the second group is what I call the questioners. Now, they always seem to come to me and the leaders, they're constantly asking questions. And questions are good things in Toastmasters because we can learn, we can grow from information. But the real issue is those people who take the information and use it. They take the information to go to Sally and say, Sally, I want to have an open house. They go to Lindy and say, Lindy, I want to help my club rise up to the next level with educational awards. And then the third group, coasters, questioners, and then there's climbers. And climbers are those people who are striving, who are achieving to grow in Toastmasters. And Bet gave me a list of some of the climbers in District 57 who are doing a great job. I want to say a shout out to them right now. Are you ready? Michelle Pedicolas, D30, give her a round. Winnie Ma, Area D27 Director, give her a round of applause. Subhash Kale in E4. Let's hear it for Subhash. Area F6, Smitha Samir Harlhan. F6, Director Smitha, a brand new Toastmasters club. G10, Area Director Paul Otto. Congratulations, Paul, doing a great job. We really appreciate it. Area H5 Director, Bakar Swaminathan. Bakar Swaminathan, congratulations to you, doing a great job with all your AD reports. And our fantastic financial manager, Linda Patton. What would we do without the district bucks? Fellow Toastmasters, Toastmasters is all about the recognition, isn't it? It's the positive energy that we give to build people up. You look in the world out there, and there's a world of people trying to tear people down, but we're trying to build people up. The world is trying to cancel people, but we're trying to encourage them and bring them higher in their talents and abilities. Toastmasters is a unique organization. And as you think about finishing strong, make sure you have no regrets. We've all lived life long enough to have regrets, haven't we? I regret a lot of classes that I didn't put energy into. I regret a lot of nice people I'd met in my life that I didn't make time to nurture the relationships. I regret a lot of missed opportunities. When July 1 comes, you don't want to look back on your Toastmasters year and think, if only I'd done this, if only I'd done that. I've been hanging around Toastmasters over 3 decades. I know, I don't look that old. 3 decades. I wish I had a quarter for every district leader that came to me and said, I wish I only had another month. I could do it. I could have my club distinguished, my area distinguished, my division. I just had another month. Have you ever heard that? I could do it. I've heard some people say, if I only had another week, I could do it. People have come to me and say, if I only had another day. I've actually had people email me in the early morning of July 1 who've been shut out trying to push in clubs and memberships. And they've said, if I only had another hour, we'd be distinguished. Fellow Toastmasters, you don't want to be in that camp. And what that means is, in the next 25 days, doing the things to look at those statistics, what Bet is talking about. I was surprised looking at the areas, looking at the clubs, how many clubs and areas are close. And that's my question for you. Working on those things, connecting with the clubs. I understand some of you have been sharing with me, you email the club leaders, they don't email you back. Am I the only guy that happens to, or does that happen to you too? They don't respond. And that's the challenge of the Toastmasters leadership experience. We learn to be resourceful and try other methods of communication. And maybe you might even try the old-fashioned way of just picking up the telephone and giving them a call and saying, Harry, Susan, all we need is 2 more members. And always remember what Bet Bohlhofer said, which is so very critical to maintain your integrity. I'm in clubs where I hear people say, oh, I'll pay for this person. Oh, I'll pay. No, 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 no. We don't pay for other people's dues in Toastmasters. We have an affordable dues structure. Everybody is responsible for themselves. We don't want paper clubs. When I was international president, I will just share with you one of the saddest, most painful experiences I personally had is I had to call a district in Texas. Now, the average district has about 150 clubs, thousands of Toastmasters, and I had to say to them, you are disqualified. Nothing in your district counts. No distinguished district, no distinguished area, no distinguished divisions. Because we found pervasive, widespread, improper payment for dues. When one person is buying 27 memberships, something is wrong. So your integrity is critical. And I will say this, whatever happens at the end of this year, win, lose, or draw, you're still a winner. You're still a winner, and don't ever hang your head low as a Toastmaster, because we take away from this experience learning. And I can tell you that personally, I have probably learned more from the years I failed than from the years I succeeded. When I was club growth director, we used to in the old days call it the marketing director, I missed distinguished district by 1 club. But you know something? We did it honestly, and it was one of the greatest learning years I had in Toastmasters. You've got 25 days. You don't have a margin for error. Things have got to happen. And when you get into the 4th quarter and things speed up, it means waking up every day with an action list of the things you're going to do. And yes, it does mean some open houses. It may mean a few speak-a-thons. It's perfectly fine for a club to schedule a longer meeting to get all the speeches in so that people reach their levels in Toastmasters. The focus is on performance. I know a lot of people come to me all the time and they say, well, I don't like the district incentive performance plan. Let's be honest. The Distinguished District Plan does not necessarily recognize everything good that happens in Toastmasters. There's more to Toastmasters than statistics. That's what I'm saying. We have the friendship, we have the joy, We have the camaraderie that comes with this organization. But when all is said and done, we are an educational organization. Our mission is to empower members. And the way we do that is through the educational achievements and stretching ourselves to achieve and grow. I loved when Bet read the mission and the vision. They are so important because the vision of Toastmasters is to empower people to achieve their full potential and realize their dreams in life. And I don't know if you guys followed the news at all this week, but there was a poignant example of how important Toastmasters is. Has anybody here heard the name Naomi Osaka? Put your hand up. Ed, Sally, good. Others? Naomi Osaka is the highest paid woman athlete in the world. She makes $55 million a year playing tennis. She's either the #1 or the #2 ranked professional women's tennis player in the world. Pretty good for 23 years old. Immigrated from Japan to USA. But this week, Naomi Osaka was so afraid of public speaking. She admitted the extraordinary anxiety that she has standing up and speaking before an audience, of giving table topics before the French media, that she said, after my tennis tournaments, I'm just not going to do it. And what did the tennis official said? You are fined, Naomi, $15,000. Now, for Naomi to be $15,000 fined is kind of like you or I getting a parking ticket, okay? She slapped on the wrist. But what she did then is even more significant. She said, fine, I'm done with this tournament. I'm done. Because my anxiety for public speaking is so great, I'm willing to drop out and forego millions of dollars and tremendous notoriety just so I don't have to speak in public. Fellow Toastmasters, my question is, how many thousands of Naomi Osakas are there out there in the world that we meet that are foregoing their opportunities to be successful in business, foregoing their opportunities to be successful in academia, in government jobs, you name it, because of the fear and the anxiety? And guess what? We are the one organization in the world that takes people of all kinds with open arms and says, you can do it. We provide that encouragement. I think of a woman during my time, a very shy woman who walked into one of our Toastmasters clubs in Maui, Hawaii. Her name was Linda. Linda couldn't speak at all, but Linda was passionate. She was interested in politics. She worked the educational program, and before long, Linda Lingle became the first woman governor of the state of Hawaii. Yes, Bet. She gives her credit to Toastmasters International. I think of a young man who walked into one of our clubs outside of Washington, D.C. He was actually working security at some of the government buildings. He got involved in speaking and realized how much he loved it and how much it helped his career. Oh, you might have heard of that man. His name is Christopher Matthews, the host of Hardball with Christopher Matthews. He actually just retired. Got his encouragement out of Toastmasters International. So I want to just challenge you as you come into these last couple weeks to work hard, have fun, maintain those Toastmaster values, and be flexible to try things that work and might not work to inspire people in our organization. Because when it's all over, we're going to look back and you're going to tie a bow around this year, which is, frankly, District 57 doing fantastic. I was looking at the statistics. We have 30% distinguished clubs in our region. We're almost twice better than any other district in the region. Yes, it's really extraordinary to see that. And that's a congratulations to all of us here. As you work with Toastmasters, remember that everybody is on their own journey. And everybody's growing through different phrases at different times. And I like to say there are kind of 4 different levels of growth in Toastmasters. The first level is what we call self-awareness, when we become aware from evaluation, from feedback of the things that we are doing and how we are affecting those people around us. Self-awareness is really important. That leads to self-discovery. And self-discovery is kind of peeling back the rock, looking underneath to see what our talents and our abilities are and could be. Self-awareness leads to self-discovery. We find out things that maybe we're really good at and things where we need to work. And that leads to the third phase, which is self-confidence. And that's the name of the game in Toastmasters International. If I was going to rename our organization, I would call us Confidence Builders International, because that is really what we do, isn't it? The benefit of Toastmasters is that you develop that self-confidence, and then you can use it out there in the world, whether you're a professional tennis player, a teacher, an engineer, a lawyer, a doctor. This experience gives you the self-confidence to do the things you want to do in life. And then the fourth is self-mastery. And none of us get to self-mastery. But all of us are working through those phases of self-awareness, self-discovery, self-confidence to self-mastery. And my goal, my hope for everybody on our district team is that you have a breakthrough this year. A breakthrough that you can come to July 1, you can look back on the Toastmasters year and say, there's something I took away here that's going to change my life and make me better as a person. That's my goal. And I want to inspire you with just sharing a little story in closing from my 7th grade year at Spartan Junior High School in Chicago, Illinois. Because when I was in 7th grade, I'm going to admit it, Ashley, I tried out for the basketball team. And I wasn't very good at basketball. But these were the old days when anybody who goes out for the team gets on the team. And I felt so proud to walk to school with my Spartan sweatshirt and say, I'm on the basketball team. Even though I very rarely played in any games, I was way, way down at the end of the bench. Coach would look down and see me way, way down at the end of the bench. But I did get in and practice. And the year I played basketball, and frankly, our team was not very good, we happened to have one really good player on our team. And his name was Stiley Riley. Stiley Riley wore all these flashy clothes. He had his hair in a mousse. He was really popular, and boy, he could play basketball. He was the best player on our team. And the second best player was on our crosstown rivals. His name was Sneaky Sam. Sneaky Sam was the Muggsy Bogues. He was this little short guy who used to jump around on the court. He could dribble, beneath your legs, and you'd see him. He's gone before you recognize where he is. Well, believe it or not, we had a really good year, my 7th grade year. We got into the conference championship against Sneaky Sam's team. And it came down to 12 seconds left, and we were losing by 1 point. 1 point we were losing. And I was in a gymnasium of probably 200 kids and teachers, and you could have felt the excitement in that auditorium that day. It was really amazing. 12 seconds late, the coach calls a timeout because he wants to make sure that we get the ball to our best player, Riley. And I couldn't believe it happened to this day. The coach looked down the bench and he pointed at me. He said, Michael, into the game. With 12 seconds left, The last thing he said to us, get the ball to Riley and watch out for Sneaky Sam. 12, 9, 10. As the clock was going down, I managed to fall down on the court, and I was laying out on the court. I wasn't pushed by anybody. I just voluntarily seemed to fall down. And all the people on the side were pointing, get up, Michael, get up, get up. Well, I got up just in time, 8, 7, 6, got the ball, passed it over to Stylie Riley, who jumped up, made a perfect shot, swish, and we were ahead by 1 point. About 4 seconds left. There was pandemonium. I started pounding my chest, and I just knew for the rest of my life, I would tell people, I won the big game as a 7th grader, and I was in the game. But there's one person who wasn't celebrating, and that was our coach, Mr. Messina. Because Mr. Messina was shouting, and I couldn't hear him, but he was saying, watch out for Sneaky Sam. Because with 3 seconds left, the other team threw the ball the full length of the court, and who do you think was there to catch it and score a layup with 1 second left? Sneaky Sam. I learned it's not over until it's over. Fellow Toastmasters, you've got 25 days left. Some of you may be exhausted. Some of you, like me, may be laid out on the basketball court wondering what you're supposed to do. Now is your opportunity to shine. Don't have any regrets as you look back on this year. Give your very best. And remember, it's not over until it's over. Bet?
Wow. Wow, Michael. That was very inspirational, and I feel very empowered now. Thank you so much. I think we actually have, like, let's say one question. What about one? Are you prepared for questions?
Sure.
Okay.
As long as they're easy, Bet. I'll take all the easy ones, and then the hard ones I'll give over to my friend Ed Cullen.
All right. Perfect. Perfect. Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question.
All right. Let's hear it.
This is Cynthia. What's the low hanging fruit? What could we capture right now that's the easiest to capture?
Very good question. Thank you, Cynthia. I think the low-hanging fruit is kind of unique for each particular area in each particular club. For a lot of clubs, there are people that are holding back speeches that have not registered their speeches into the pathway system. Frankly, I'm one of those people who's guilty of that. I have a whole stack of speeches. You too, George? Carolyn? Good. So I'm low-hanging fruit myself, but certainly that is, a lot of us have close friends and guests who are right on the edge of joining Toastmasters. All it takes is picking up the phone and say, hey, can you come to the open house by the end of the month? Good question.
All right. That was the one question, and it was actually pretty easy. So Ed got a break there. Okay, guys, the next part of our speech or of our session today is actually, okay, so let me just round of applause for Michael. Michael, that was amazing. Woo! I am inspired and ready to finish strong. There's so many levels of brilliance in there. So lots and lots of good stuff. And this was recorded. So if people want to watch that again, you can go on our district YouTube channel and watch it several times and just watch out for Sneaky Pete. Okay, so let's move to our next section, which is something completely different. And Linda and Abe are going to give a co-presentation, starting off with Linda, around profit and loss, something completely different. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And can you guys see the profit and loss? And now I'll turn it over to Linda Patton to talk to us about money, money, money. And you're muted, I think.
I know. So April was a good month. We had a smaller amount of revenue, but this is after the big push for dues renewal and that kind of thing. We spent, and please don't look at the totals because those aren't right. I just realized for the actual, but we still have not spent all of our money. We still have money out there. Bet the next slide.
Okay, I think
Got it.
skip. Okay, there we go.
There we go. So this is our year-to-date through April 30th. As you can see, as I said, we have not spent what we budgeted. We're working on it. More incentives have come in. I have been busy with Concur for probably the last 3 weeks. I'm excited for the fact that clubs finally have gotten their Concur credentials. A little late, but they got them. And now they're beginning to put in their expenses. So next slide. Just to reiterate, purchases must be completed in Concur by June 10th. There will be no additional extension on this deadline. Now, if you get it on June 10th, there'll be some days to be able to approve it and get it run through the system, but the expenses have to be in by the 10th. Bucks not spent will be lost. And remember, caveat, I'm seeing this now. Remember that the date of the expense must match the date of the receipt. Again, the date of the expense that you put into Concur has to match the date of receipt. There's currently, drumroll please, $7,954.55 still outstanding in district bucks money. And I'll turn this over to Abe because he'll tell us what our percentages are. Is Abe there?
Thank you, Linda.
There you go.
Good morning, everybody. We have done a fantastic job this year with District Bucks. It isn't just this District Bucks, it's all of the awards and incentives that you have reached to. And let's look at the highlights of what we've achieved so far. Was 112 clubs that received at least one Gem Gold Award. 95 approved open houses. I know that we said 91, but things change every minute here. And we've got up to June for your clubs to get up to 100 before June 30th. So keep pushing and finish strong. We have had 95 7 officers trained, which is amazing this year, and 69 mini success plans, as well as 47 new member referrals. Next slide, please. But when it comes to District Bucks, we've got only 19 clubs that have used all of their District Bucks. And they are so happy because they get all of the awards and prizes and good stuff and projectors and all that stuff. So you better get on because we've got only a few days left before you can take advantage of it. But the good news again is that the district has earned $15,755 of District Bucks. And it seems like the District Bucks program has been successful in encouraging clubs to go beyond what they think they can do. And as Linda talked about, there's $7,800 of expenses submitted, and you've got till June 10th to submit your expenses. Now, to finish up here, let's finish strong. As Michael talked about, there are things besides open houses that you can do until June 30th. Triple Crown Award, that's low-hanging fruit. Get your members to get that Triple Crown Award by June 30th, as well as the OATM. That is available until June 30th, as well as club coach and ambassadors, club ambassadors. So keep pushing your clubs and finish strong. Thank you, Bet.
Okay, I have a question, please.
Yeah.
Sure.
Acknowledging this is a new program for the district, there has been some pushback from a couple of my clubs that District Bucks and Concur is pretty burdensome. Now, granted, not all of them waited. Some of them waited till the last minute to register, despite reminders from me. But it is a little bit tough to navigate. It's a trial year, and I'm wondering if we're going to go forward with it next year with some revisions or making it easier.
Well, we're totally open to any feedback you have. I think that's a great idea, and let's have a situation where we get feedback from the area directors and the division directors on what works and what isn't working with District Bucks this year, and make it even better next year.
Great.
And Lisa, I put a message in the chat. The fact is that overall, it's easier to use Concur than it is for us as the trio and the finance manager to have to complete vouchers, to print checks, to get them signed by 3 people, to put them in the mail and send them out, and then have to put them into the accounting system and make sure that you reconcile and all that. I still have 22 checks from last year that no one cashed. So I don't know that it matters how we give you money. There will always be clubs who don't cash the check, don't, apply for the money that they have. And Ed and I sent out an email earlier this week. Only 50% of the people it was sent to actually opened it. So we're doing everything we can to get people to do this sooner rather than later. And I can't, they always say you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And that's what Abe and I have done, is we've given you a way to make it easier actually to get the things that you want and to do it in a manner that's all electronic. So yes, it's not as fast, but still you don't have to wait for the post office to get you a check. You don't have to go to the bank to deposit it. You don't lose it on your desk and it goes into the wastebasket. It's all electronic. And I know from my perspective, I think Abe has done a yo person's job with District Bucks. Sally's done a great job with the open houses, and we've gotten them some significant amounts of money. There are several clubs that made over $400 in District Bucks and are now spending it. So there are challenges, yes, but I think as with any new system where we've worked through the bugs, and all I would say is, again, if we sign up sooner, then you can start spending money sooner. It's just that question.
Yeah, I want to answer a question that Kate's asking. So there's the earning of the District Bucks, which happens throughout the whole year. Then the spending of the District Bucks. The thing that has to be done within 30 days is when you spend the District Bucks, you submit the receipt with the exact date as the record that you're putting in. That's the thing that's 30 days from the time when the expense was created. So if you spent some District Bucks in September and you tried to submit the receipt today, this is going to be a problem for GAAP. So this is our accounting auditing system. And by the way, a lot of these rules, most of these rules are not coming just from us. It's because of the auditing, the GAAP. We have to be a compliant group so that we don't lose our non-for-profit. So if I'm happy, George is the next district director. If he wants to run a town hall about District Bucks or something, I'm probably throwing out something he doesn't have time for right now. But also Tony is on the call. She's our new incoming finance manager. or Michelle, I'm sorry. I call her my last name. So I'm sure she's going to be very interested in learning how to make this program better. Also, this is the first year. It's Toastmaster. It's like our icebreaker of doing a digital transformation. But I can tell you that most districts across the globe do not use paper checks. They do not have their own banking account. So they don't use their own bank account, and because that is a very unusual thing and it's a lot of overhead. So Mark, do you want to say anything about what's like standard accounting procedure for districts? Mark is our regional advisor.
Concur is Toastmasters International approved preferred way of handling accounting and district finances. Although districts all over the globe do various things, but by and far, the fastest, most efficient way to handle accounting is through Concur and the way you're doing it.
Yep. Growing pains are hard. And I think what we can do, George, and incoming PQD Carolyn, is make sure that we have lots and lots of training on this at the treasurer training. So I think that's what we do. All right. This has been a great discussion. I think, George, we should have some kind of town hall or something with Michelle and Linda to figure out what's the next ways we can improve and learn how to make the system even better. Okay, next up is meet the incoming leadership team, and then we're going to go to the lessons learned speeches. So, George, do you want to introduce your team?
Absolutely. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Mark. So we have, as you all know, we change leadership on July 1 every year. We've got a great set of people coming in for this year. And I just want to introduce them very briefly to you. First up, gosh, it's me. I'm the new district director. I've been in Toastmasters for 18 years, a small fraction of what Michael has done, but I'm very happy to be here. And the other parts of your trio, our program quality director is Carolyn Douglas. Ed, can you highlight Carolyn? Carolyn is working. Okay. Carolyn is in charge of basically education and training, the club officer training, the various programs we do there, the conference itself, and certain other kind of things. So most of the events you go to at the district level this year because someone on Carolyn's team arranged them. Club growth director, our ever laughing, ever smiling Ed Cullen. Ed is the guy in charge of making new clubs happen and building up and holding membership. So anything involved with either new clubs or growing and strengthening membership is going to be Ed's area. If you have some interest in that, Ed would love to talk to you. Yeah. Public relations manager, PRM, Nancy Muscardini. We have a lot of things that happen behind the scenes in order to get you the information, from the website to social media to registrations to just all kinds of things. Nancy is our person on the spot, and she's already building up her team right now. You're going to hear a lot more from Nancy. Finance manager, the money lady, Michelle Tony is our money lady, and handpicked by Linda. So I know she's great. So she will be right at the very center of the discussion of district bucks, how we hand them out, how we deal with it, et cetera. Now, who else do we have on the team? Well, gosh, our division directors. Division A, Teresa Smith. Welcome, Teresa. Each division director is responsible for helping and supporting several area directors. We have so many of those, I'm not going to try to introduce them in the time we have available. Division B, Joanne Bradley. Welcome, Joanne. Oh, by the way, spot those folks, introduce yourself, get to know them. They all need people on their teams too, all right? Division C, Elliot Rogers. Elliot's already shown us his sense of humor here in the chat today. Division D, Tong Yin. Fantastic to have Tong on board. Division E, Drew Call. Yay, Drew. That's his graduation outfit there, recent graduate. Division F, Winnie Ma. Winnie's one of our stars here. Glad to see you as the division leader. Division G, Mark Salcido. Yay, Mark. Division H, Lisa Ash. She's got her hand up right now. We'll get back to you, Lisa. And Division I, my home division, Sherry Sue. So this is your incoming leadership team. We're trying our very best to help you to do what you need. I know that some of you comments about bucks and this and that, you don't always understand the reasons. We try to explain everything we do. We try to make the best decisions for all the members and so forth, but we're the incoming team. We start in 25 days, although in fact, we've been working on what we're going to be doing for the last month already, since roughly the day after the election at the conference. So really looking forward to the year and meeting and working with even more of you. Back to you, Beth.
Wow, I am so excited. What a great new team, full of energy and excitement, and lessons learned is going to inform all of you so that you don't repeat any kind of mistakes that we made this year, which, you know, I think that's great. Okay, so I'm going to now share the agenda for the lessons learned, and you guys basically, okay, so Ed, I'm going to lean on you to help me with timing. So these are table topics. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to put it into the chat, but really we're going to be very strict on time today. Okay. So timing is very critical. So Ed, can you help me with timing?
It helps to unmute yourself. What do you want?
1 to 2 minutes. It's
okay. Green 1, yellow 1.5, red 2.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And I just in Linda, Julie says her voice is shot. So I'm going to drop her because she has a voice problem. Okay, great. I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to paste this into the list so you guys know where you are in the order, and we're going to be going through these very quickly. And I just put myself first, and that was not like some kind of ego trip, but okay, ready? Thank you. I'm so excited to share my lessons learned. I have rewritten this lessons learned speech like 7 times, but the thing that I think is most important that you can't read on a bumper sticker or get in an inspirational calendar is that you have to think about where can you learn things nowadays, right? There's amazing abilities to learn anything. I have all of the world's knowledge on my cell phone. I can Google everything. I can watch YouTubes on how to fix my dishwasher, how to figure out how to hang drapes, or any possible thing that I want to learn. I can learn how to set up spreadsheets on the internet. The question is, what can you not learn on the internet? I know this is not interactive speech because I'm being timed. I discovered that the thing you cannot learn on the internet is confidence. You have to learn by doing. And before I joined Toastmasters, I thought I was really smart because I read a lot of books. So I would say my 15, 16 something year journey, plus my 3 years in the trio, has taught me confidence. And I have made all the crazy mistakes. I've learned so many different things, but it's really about learn by doing, stumble, try a crazy thing like district bucks, learn all kinds of interesting things, and then go on and do something else great. So you can't learn it on the internet, folks, but you can learn in Toastmasters for only $7.50 a month. And now I give the rest of my time. And next up is George.
Thank you, Beth. As the program quality director this year, I was the one, just as Carolyn will be next year, who was responsible for most of the district events we did. And it was a shocker. You know, the pandemic hit us in March last year. The team just barely got used to it. And then we were faced with the entire year online. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of Toastmasters that say, this isn't Toastmasters. I don't want to do this. This online stuff is awful. I hate my browser. I hate my computer. I even hate Google. But we still had to put on these events. We had to do them. And so we did. And so the lessons learned for me was online actually works. It took some getting used to. It took some changes. Some things were easier, some things were harder. So all of the club officer training was online. Last year under Julie, we did 3 TLIs, Toastmaster Leadership Institutes, that's in-person club officer training, and 9 division makeups. This year we did 2 TLIs and 3 combined division makeups. And you know what? Julie's year was very good. She trained a lot of officers. We trained even more. We had more turnout for club officer training than practically any year District 57 has ever done. And we got so many comments about how great it was. We saved everyone an hour or 2 hours, even more in driving time, not having to get there. So we're going to continue that. It's going to go on. The conference, we all like to go to the conference. I know some of you go to the conference, you don't really care about the sessions. You just want to hang out in the hallway and talk to your friends. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Lindy. And we tried to have some networking. It was different, but it worked. So online can work. I want to get back to some in-person stuff too, but online is not horrible. Next up.
Okay, I'm going to time Ed. Ed, you're up. I'm going to start timing you when you unmute yourself.
When I find the unmute, I had a wonderful year, and I did a lot of wonderful things. I interacted nicely with Linda and with Bet and with George and with Julie. It has been a great year. But what I didn't do particularly well was share the greatness, build a team. When you start in a Toastmaster, as a Toastmaster, you go for communication, you want to learn how to speak, and then leadership sneaks up on you and you become a club officer, and then maybe an area director, and then maybe a division director. As an area director, your team is built for you. As the division director, your team is built for you. As you go along, you need to build your own team. Do as I say, not as I did. I ended up doing many things myself and depriving people of that fun. So go out, build your teams, have a wonderful year. That's a minute 20.
Yeah, I for some reason don't have my Zoom backgrounds. I'm trying to download them. Okay, another lesson learned: don't try to download things during a speech. Okay, next up is Linda. Linda, you have and you can go back to timing since I don't even have timing backgrounds.
This has been an absolutely amazing year. I stepped into this role not really knowing what it required, but I had such a fabulous team working with Bet and George, Julie, and especially Ed. Ed actually helped me to charter a club with Leaders Worldwide. So we made that happen. There were so many learning opportunities as far as Concur, Sage Interact, not doing checks, not having to drive across the country to get things signed, helping the clubs to win their incentives and then to spend their money. What do we spend it on? What can we do? And really getting them to think outside the box. And I think that's really a powerful piece is we're in a digital world. What do you need to be able to do a hybrid meeting? And I thank the conference for doing a whole session on hybrid meetings and the equipment that you need. It really spurred the clubs to be able to do this. It's also repeating over and over and over and over again, things like you can't do gift cards and other things. I began to feel like a broken record, but I think we finally have it. And I know that Michelle is going to do an absolutely stellar job taking what we've done so far and just springboarding into something even more spectacular next year. And I commend all the clubs who won District Bucks money and have submitted their expenses. And let's get the other 50% moving. Thank you, Beth.
Great. Very good. Michelle, you're up next.
So, Bet, since I'm fairly new to the group or just Toastmasters in general, I just want to piggyback on what Linda said, because since I am going to be handed the baton as the finance director person, I do my best to learn her lessons, or, you know, the lessons that she had went through, in addition to whatever lessons I'm going to learn throughout my term in this position. So all I can say is Linda is going to be my security blanket with the rest of the trio team, George, Ed, Carolyn, and Nancy, and I'll do my best that I can. FYI to those who are scared with Concur, it's not hard. I've used it at my job. It's very intuitive. If you want, I can give you the 1, 2, 3 quick reference guides, whatever you need, I will help you with that. So that's all I can say right now, Bet. But hopefully this time next year, I will give you my lessons learned speech.
All right, good. I think I needed to, I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Okay, next up is Michelle Pedicolas. I'm gonna start using last names just in case there's confusion on any of these.
Okay, so there are 2 Michelles. What can we do? A lesson learned, use last names. My lessons learned, first of all, prepare your speech. But this is a table topics. So I'm sort of doing this impromptu. One of the biggest lessons I learned was to act early, to try to, well, not try, but to make those connections with the clubs early on, to have meetings often, to let them know that I was the go-to person, but also to let them stand in their own leadership, not to take over. I have sort of a hero complex and I like to be the hero. For me, leadership is learning how to allow other people to find their way. And when they don't find their way, be there to nudge them, not to shame them. So that's really important too. And maybe the most important thing is to remember to ask. I was having to do this contest that I had no idea how to do. And we were doing it on the internet, which made it even more complicated. I stepped in early. December, I had already started getting my team together. And moving forward, I helped out Tong Lin to do her contest so that I knew exactly what I was doing when I did my contest. So starting early is probably the most important thing I could share. And then finally, get yourself a mentor. There is so much you need to learn in order to do this area director. I mean, there's so many tasks and so many things you need to stay on top of, and a mentor will really help you. Thank you.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. All right, next up is Teresa Smith. And I know we have a few Teresas too.
Thank you, Bet. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. I wanted to say that, well, first, I'm Teresa Smith, Area 2 Director, future Division A Director. But I wanted to say it took me about halfway through my year to really learn the lesson that I want to share with everyone. I'm an extremely metric-driven person. I like to see results and progress and goals that are measurable. So of course, I wanted my area to be a distinguished area. I reached out to all of the 6 clubs that were in my area, and most of them replied, except for 2. One eventually did, and they told me that their company was closing down, so they weren't going to be around anymore. And the other one, I reached exactly 2 times, once via phone, once via email. Other than that, I never heard from them. What did I learn from that? Well, it's twofold. You can't help the people or clubs that don't want your help. So my recommendation is to, and what I did was focus on the people and clubs that want your help. Don't give up on the other ones, but really focus on the ones that do want your help. I felt like that was a success for me. I connected with them, I helped them, I attended meetings, and that was really great. Which brings me to the second half. Metrics aren't the only measurement of success. As I said, I found other ways to gauge my success this year as an area director, and that actually allowed me to be much happier and relax a little bit and take the pressure off of having to be this distinguished area director. I still feel distinguished, even though my metric doesn't say it. That's my recommendation and my lessons learned. Thank you.
Wow, I love it, especially during a pandemic. You really do need to have your own metrics. Awesome. And now we have Sally, our open house chair. Sally Philman, just in case there's any other Sallys on.
Fellow Toastmasters, oh my gosh, lessons learned. The first lesson, and it isn't really a lesson learned so much this year because I already knew this and I did it. Figure out what you're supposed to do. Find out what the rules are. What are the guidelines? What do you need to do to help make the clubs that are coming to you for guidance successful? Once you figure that out, figure out how to streamline it. And here's my lesson learned. For instance, guidelines. Clubs had to submit a list of guests and they had to submit a list of their membership. Guess what? I went to Bet. I went to George. Send me a list of all the current members, I said. Every month I went to them. I got a current list. Clubs now no longer had to send me a list of their members. And if they would just do a screenshot, they didn't need to send me a list of guests because guess what? I could figure it out. So figure out how to streamline things, how to make things easier. Believe it or not, those two steps made it easier for both me and for the clubs. Second, I learned thinking outside the box. So that's what that was. The other thing I learned is to grow with the times. I have been all over my club members about standing up for their presentations. Stand up, use your stage, use your stage. I completely support that thought. However, one day I realized virtual was here to stay. Not exclusively, but here to stay. We need to practice making effective presentations sitting down, using our camera, gestures up around our face. I'm not sure how this looks because I'm not pinned and I needed to watch Ed, but move with the times. And that was a big lesson learned for me, fellow Toastmasters.
Awesome. Thanks, Sally. Move with the times. Dennis Dawson. Dennis is up next.
My key takeaway this year is how essential it is for clubs to follow the Pathways curriculum if they're going to thrive. Without the education program, new members don't have a platform on which to build skills. New members don't see advanced speakers moving through higher level lessons. Evaluations have no criteria, which leads to regurgitation of the same feedback. Now, some longtime members think that they can replace the curriculum by giving great evaluations. Well, they can't. I knew when I started this year, I was stepping in as the director of a struggling area. One of my area clubs hadn't submitted a single educational award in the past 5 years. The speeches were terrible, the evaluations whitewash. That zombie club was thankfully laid to rest this year. But one of my other clubs, great people, did a terrific job running a speechcraft at the local library. After the speechcraft, the participants have been attending as guests, but they haven't signed up for the club. When I visited, there were 2 speeches without Pathways lessons. Guests had used TM materials in speechcraft, but they didn't have the same structure when they came to actual meetings. To land those guests as members, the club needs to demonstrate well-prepared speeches based on stated criteria and receive a thoughtful evaluation. That's what Toastmasters is all about. So I was already a fan of the Pathways program. Now I've seen in real time the consequences of using it or not using it, both in my successful clubs that embrace it and the struggling clubs that have not. It's not just about following rules. It's about delivering on the promise of the Toastmasters brand, giving everyone the ability to grow as a leader and a communicator. That's my takeaway.
Wow, that's very exciting. I'm sure Lindy's very happy to hear about that. Dennis, thank you. Up next is Elliot Rogers.
Thank you, Bet. There are so many things I learned this year. One of the things I learned is when you do something for the first time, you don't want to ask for help and you want to look smart. And when I did it the second time, when I did area reports the second time, I found the key secret ingredient was do not fear the phone call. Now, one of the things that all of our members talk about is we want to go back, but we have to deal with Zoom. And so the phone call is the hidden tool for that human connection. And making the human connection, I believe, especially when we're all in the virtual world, is the gift that we have as area directors. So instead of coming to a club my first time with, here's what the data says, we need to get this together, please tell me what you can do. The second time, my approach was a lot different. And I like to say a lot more organic, which was one of my original goals, which was, I have a question. I'm not sure I understand. I sent them the data ahead of time. I sent them everything they needed that I had, that we were equals in a discussion. And another thing I also learned is there are people at the top who can answer a lot of questions, but there are plenty of amazing veteran members in every club who have done this before. And I called them, but I also wanted to encourage newer leaders to step up to the plate and ask them the same questions. So in a number of my reports, 3 of my clubs, I called 3 and sometimes 4 different people. And in a couple of my reports, I relied on more of the veteran members. But getting this web of information from all the different people I talked to was a lot better than the data alone that I had to work with from the district website. But it was great making connections and staying connected, my fellow Toastmasters.
Elliot, staying connected. Love it. Up next, Ashley Harkness.
Okay, thank you very much. I want to tell you that one of the things that I really felt very successful about in my area directorship this year was getting an area council started and getting some people to come and participate in it. It was very interesting because not everybody did. As a sub part of that, I was visiting all of my clubs as often as I could. I believe in showing up and being there to the point where one of the club's guys was complaining about thinking I was a freeloader. I wasn't a freeloader. I was just an opportunity to give them information and let them use my experience if they wanted it. A big thing that I was very discouraged about was that the clubs did not seem to understand that the COVID would push everybody to virtual, and a lot of people just wouldn't show up themselves. So I began asking the clubs, where are the missing members? Where are they? And what have you done about it? Have you gone out and talked to them? As you know, if you don't communicate with them, they get lost. You as a director or whatever your role is, you bring your experience and your help. They need it, they want it, go visit the clubs, show up. And I guarantee you'll be surprised how effective it can be. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up is Lisa Ash.
Thank you, Bet. As I recall, the first DECM I went to, I remember Bet saying, start building your network now. And I found out that that is really valuable as an area director for the first time and the first time in a district role, especially when it came to area contests where you need so much help from outside your usual network of people. So start early. And the way I did that was by volunteering for a role in TLI for both sessions. And I met so many great mentors there, which expanded my network tremendously. So start early because you'll need a lot of help with area contests, especially if you're incoming area director. The second piece of advice is to plan on achieving an ODM or Triple Crown Award. These awards are really based on things you're already doing, activities, you're completing pathways levels, you're serving as a club officer. You get points for these activities. And if you start now, as the term begins next month, you can achieve both of these awards. As an incoming area director, you'll be giving more speeches to your clubs. And if you open another level of pathways or another path, it gives you more flexibility so you can deliver more speeches to receive the Triple Crown. So I start now with your Toastmasters plan to get those awards, because awards are important. Back to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We've talked a lot about awards and pathways, and I think it's really good. Building your network. Anna Ruth, who doesn't even live here, who became a Toastmaster exactly, what, 19 days into the year? What was that?
Yeah, I think in mid-July.
Mid-July, he became a Toastmaster and was an area director on day one. Let's turn it over to learn lessons learned from Anna Ruth.
Thank you, Bet. I'm Anna Ruth. I was the E15 area director. I first like to thank the district and its many leaders. I'm a relatively new member of the district, and I've greatly enjoyed my time. And I think that the main reason why is the culture that's present in the district, where we're all willing to help each other and we're all looking to make each other better to improve the district and the experience for our members. The main lesson that I kept relearning this past year was about one thing, and I anticipate I'll keep relearning it in the future. And that one thing is time management. In the past, whenever I was organizing programs, it was always around my schedule. It was always around me because I was the one doing the coordinating. If I was busy Saturdays and I like to watch movies on Saturdays, guess what? The program's going to be on Sunday morning. It was always flexible around me and whatever I needed to do. But this past year, it turns out I can't ask the club to reschedule based on what time works for me to visit them. And a lot of things were changing as things became online, as I had to adjust with time zones and contests. And I found myself having been called upon in different ways. We're going to find that we're going to be called upon on different ways as things change and as we get back to in person and our responsibilities change and as we learn more, and they all have some element of time management. I strongly look forward to keep everything flexible and to keep adjusting as we move on in the future. I'd like to thank everyone once more, and I look forward to what lies ahead. I'm greatly excited to go back, hopefully one day in person, and meet everyone. Thank you.
Wow, that was very inspirational. Thank you so much, Anna Ruth. And next up is a man who only has one name, like Madonna, and that is Abe. And please share your lessons learned, Abe.
Thank you, Bet. This year has been very challenging for all of us, and especially when it comes to club expenses and club meetings. So the lesson learned that I've come up with for this year is that District Bucks was new to everybody. And our challenge was that it's important for people to understand what it's about and how to use it. And maybe we could have done a better job of communicating that to each of the clubs. We need to get the message out early. This has been said many times by people here. We need to communicate, communicate, communicate. Make sure that from the division level to the area level to the club level, they hear the message about what District Bucks is about, how you can use it, and how you can benefit from it. We need to get the treasurers of each club to open Concur early. Learn it, make it part of the TL training process so that it's easy for all the treasurers to know how to create and open up a Concur account so they're ready to go day one. We should also make the awards and incentive website a little bit clearer. Make sure that we have the information that's easy to get to at the website. And we also need a direct communication to the club treasurers. Let them get information from them on what are their issues throughout the year in terms of District Bucks. And make sure that the officers get trained, or have the officers, when they meet on the officer meetings, make District Bucks part of each meeting's agenda. Thank you.
I love it. This is good stuff. I hope Michelle was taking lots of notes, and I meant Tony, Michelle, Tony. And next up, for something completely different, maybe, is Jeff Young. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Bet. I took on the I-33 area director role to help out the division and to fulfill a promise I made to a previous area director, not because I originally wanted to. It's been an eye-opener and a welcome surprise. It's been frightening and enlightening. I've seen clubs grow and I've seen a club fall. The most important lesson, make sure you go to every area club open house that you can. As the area director, you bring the gravitas to their open house. Just don't know that the area director is a volunteer position. They're just here. An area director with a badge is here helping promote a club, and it makes that club seem cooler than you already know that they are. Not only that, but I learned a few tricks to leverage and a few bad habits to avoid watching everyone else's open house, which is helpful when I run one of my own club. For example, one of my area clubs defied the "you must have perfect speakers" rule by feeling not one, not two, but 3 icebreaker speeches for their open house. And it worked. Next lesson, you're there to advise, not to revise. Some clubs will see you as an outsider and an interloper who doesn't understand the club's dynamic and flow. That just means you have to go until you do know enough to give good advice. You know you're doing the job right when they ask you to come back or even become a member. Last lesson, don't you dare do the bare minimum of 1 visit every 6 months. You can't help a club if you don't get them or get to them. Anyone can go in there with the area director report, which I really want to fix, by the way, and the club success plan and say, here, fill this out for me, and walk away. But it means you're just taking more than you give. Me, I'm mentoring people from clubs I don't even belong to now. You are the connection between the clubs and the district. So new area directors, go forth and connect. Final bonus tip. Don't buy the webcam in the Toastmaster store. That 480p is not a typo. It's meant as a budget solution, not as a hybrid one. You can do better. Thank you.
All right, but there is bonus tips there. Thank you so much, Jeff. And next up is a special guest. It is Mark Lucas, who is our regional advisor, and he is going to give us some lessons learned, which I hope our incoming team will also take. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you very much, Bet. I appreciate this opportunity. Bet and Michael talked about the climbers, the rock stars of District 57, people like Winnie, Michelle, Dana. How do they do it? What is their secret? It's a secret that is used by elite forces, by the Navy SEALs, and a lesson that it took me way too long to learn. It's called an Ooda Loop. Now, what the heck is an Ooda Loop? It's really simple. Let me break it down using an apple and hunger. You're walking around your house and you're hungry. You've observed that you're hungry and you spy the apple. You've been thinking, well, maybe I could go eat. Maybe I can call a friend. There's an apple. So you begin orienting. If I eat the apple, which looks good, which looks fresh, I could not be hungry, or I can call a friend. And this is the point where most people stop thinking. They keep circling around. Okay, I've got the apple. I could do this. I could do that. You need to decide. You need to kill off the other ideas and pick one. And then you need to act. When you act, now something happens. You accomplish something. Always decide and act when you see something that needs to be done. And then circle back and look for the next thing to do. Because if you don't pick up the apple and actually eat it, you're going to remain hungry. Bet?
Oh my goodness, Mark, I am hungry. That sounded delicious. And I like a little bit of background to have a slide. That's very fun. And next up is Tao Shu. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. I'm an AD I-35. I guess this is maybe first time I talk. I really learned a lot as an area director. Just a second. This year, and one thing I really liked is the DECM meetings. because it was set up in advance every month on every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. So that was really helpful, the consistency, and it was very inspiring. So what I do is I try to send out an email to all my club councils to remind them all the important events and the resources upcoming in email. Initially only send out to the club council, that means the president and the VPEs, but then I very soon realized that's not the case, because sometimes the club leader, the real leader, is not necessarily the president or VPE. For example, the South Bay is Jeff, and in my Fremont Harkness, it's the secretary Sumi, and in the Union City, it's the VPE Stephanie. So I start to send out the email to all the club officers at once, and that was really helpful. Another thing is I really would like to say we got a meeting minute from DECM after the meeting with the important events and the resources listed, because that will really help me for to send out my email. And we always do that in our club to get the meeting minutes sent out after the club officer meeting. So I think it will be, I would like to say, to get meeting minutes from the DECM. That's all for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Tao. Next time, I hope you speak earlier, because that was wonderful to hear you. Next up is Smita. Smita, please speak to us.
Good morning, leaders. As Area Director F06 and a club coach, these are my lessons learned. Number one, know your dates. Work backwards from the set dates, like Michelle Pedicolas explained to us. Working backwards always helps us to manage the unknown unknowns. Number two, know that a plan is, but planning is everything. Smile. Remember to smile when change happens, because it's the only constant. Be flexible. Watch out for the sneaky Sam. It is not over until it is over. Be aware, be prepared. Number three, work with genuine curiosity to serve and not to command and control. It helps to lead and serve with a vision in any situation. Remember, your local club and context may be different. Rules are for our guidance, not to punish or shame anybody. Build your emotional intelligence and be a great listener and an observer. We have 2 eyes, 2 ears, but 1 tongue. Lastly, these are the conclusion. Know your dates. Know that a plan is worthless, but planning is everything. Work with genuine curiosity to serve and not to command. Back to you.
Wow, Smita, thank you so much. And I had to twist Smita's arm to speak today, even though she was on the agenda and then she somehow dropped off. Thank you, Smita. And next up is Lindy, who volunteered at the last moment. Lindy, take it away.
Thank you, Bet, and good morning, everybody. Well, my story is mostly about being a senior. So I am in my 70s. I'm also a senior in Toastmasters because, like Michael Notaro, I've been in Toastmasters for over 30 years. And there's been a lot of new stuff this year. So what do? Do you throw up your hands and go, no, I'm going to stick with the stuff I know, I'm not going to learn this new stuff? Or do you dive in? Of course you dive in. So I wanted to make the case for that even seniors, and therefore everybody else, can do this. I had to learn about Concur, I had to learn about Zoom, I had to learn about webinars, and all of those dragons have been vanquished. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'm used to giving the standard 5 to 7 minute speech. When George said, I'd like you to give 4 webinars about pathways, I said, oh, sure, not realizing that a webinar means not a 5 to 7 minute speech, but more like 90 minutes of stuff, delivering stuff. So that was doable. certainly learning about Zoom. I've become the Zoom maven in all my other organizations because of the help I've had from senior Toastmasters like Elliot, Ed Cullen, George. So what they've taught me, I've gone on and been able to teach to other people. So that's my lessons learned. And what I want to pass on is that you can learn all the new things and then pass it on to other people. Take what you learn and spread it around. Back to you, Bet.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lindy. All right, the next section of our meeting is we're going to be dismissed to breakout rooms, because dismissal to breakout rooms is actually very important. You're going to go there to work hard and focus and make the plan for the last 25 and 26 days, someone said, including today, which I'm not totally sure about the math on that one, because they, anyways, we'll make a plan, just as Smita said, make a plan. It's very important. So this is the last few moments of our time together. This is the last DECM. This is my last time to be district director with you. I just want to say this has been such a pleasure. I have loved serving the district. All the things that I thought I would not like, I loved. Running the business meeting, I dreaded it so much. Putting together the budget, I was terrified. All those things ended up being wonderful. So I think this was a great year. I should have prepared myself, but we are going to have more time together. We're going to have a celebration of all of the achievements, because once the final numbers come in from the dashboard, we will have those numbers and we will have a big celebration. George and I are still working on the exact dates, but sometime mid-July. So look forward to that. And it's going to be on Zoom because we don't know what's going on with the world, but it's going to be a fun celebration. So if you have things to bring to us, ideas, if you want to help us run it, like instead of me timing George, as Lindy pointed out, I could have recruited someone to help time Ed. I mean, anyways, getting help is really good. I really enjoyed my time. But all right, George, you're the incoming people. We have incoming people here and outgoing. It's this district breakout time, division breakout is for you to do your planning. So I want to hear from George right now on what he wants people to focus on in the last 30 minutes of our session in your breakout room.
Thank you, Beth. Thank you, Beth. So don't run off your breakout rooms. A couple of things I want to let you know. Area and division director training will be Saturday, June 26th. We need you to be at that training. That's not I'll go if I feel like it. That's where you go so you learn your job. It's going to be about a few hours. That's going to be the beginning of your training. We don't think we could tell you everything you need to be as an area division director in a little time, that we're going to spread that out. So June 26th, Saturday, we'll be getting emails out to you with Zoom links and all that good stuff. The other thing is, this is the last DECM of this year. Thank you so much, Bet. We will, of course, continue DECM next year. And all the new folks, the area folks, the division folks, and committee chairs are invited. Please, please, please come to those. This is one of the few times you'll have where you're everyone together. Those will be the second Saturday of the month. Yes, we're changing from the first Saturday of the month. It'll be the second Saturday of the month, which means the first one will be July 10th. Mark your calendar now. Again, we'll be sending out information to you. Looking forward to seeing that. Now, today in the breakout, in the last time we've got to go, you folks, the current division and current area folks, you probably have a little time you'd like to talk to each other about what you're going to do, as Mark and Michael told us, on taking it all the way home, getting everything there. However, new folks, incoming folks, this is your chance to meet and talk to your outgoing counterpart. So area and division folks coming in, please, please, please go to your division's breakout session, introduce. You probably want to have a longer conversation with your counterpart, but find out who they are. Get to know them just a little bit. So I think with that, that's where we want to go right now. Again, this session we're giving you is really, really valuable time for you to make those last plans in the last few weeks here, and also to get to know your counterparts, understand your clubs, understand your areas, understand your divisions. Bet, any last thoughts?
Yes, yes. I want to say one quick thing, and that is I want to say congratulations to all the great work that Julie did with clubs and coaches and the new ambassador program and the freaking amazing open house program. She strained her voice, but I do want her to wave at everyone because this is her and I's last DECM as official members of the trio. So actually I'm in an immediate pass, but that's okay. So thank you, Julie, for all your amazing work. This is great. All right, Ed, you can send us all to our breakout rooms. Thank you all.
First of all, a big hand for Bet.
Aw,
A
thank
big hand for Bet.
you. And I've heard I've been going to get roasted and toasted at this celebration meeting, and I'm fine with being toasted or roasted. I'm fine. Like I have very thick skin. I do rock climbing. So I got good calluses.
Are you kosher?
I can be that day.
All right, good.
All right, you guys, have a great breakout. Ed, send them on.
Send us away, Ed.
Click the button.
Division D.
So exciting as we see division by division disappearing. Just, yeah. How?
Eesh, it's cumbersome. It's still cumbersome.
Okay, so I accidentally went out to my breakout early and then I came back and now I'm stuck here.
I think it'll be okay.
Okay,
Oh,
you can,
you
I
think I'll
think you
go
can
through-
also scroll down and join yourself. If you
I
scroll
tried,
down the
but it
breakout
won't let
rooms.
me.
Don't worry, Ed is a genius at this, okay?
Oh, thank you, Bet. But
No pressure.
Yeah,
Are we going to our own division too as well? Oh, we're staying.
Michelle, you should probably stay here.
Okay.
Okay.
I want
Which
to.
Michelle?
Two Michelles.
Oh,
I
Tony.
should know. I should be going, but I can't get in.
The morning, Michelle.
Tony,
I can't find your
We're
name,
in the same
Michelle.
division. Both
It's
of us are in
there.
the same division.
Okay,
under
Michelle,
Division
Tony,
D.
stay because I wanted to talk with Abe about improvements to district bugs before we.
Okay, well, I can just go home and have breakfast.
No.
No. Oh, there we go. I got
I
you.
wasn't sent to a breakout room either. This is Deb,
Debbie,
yeah.
Debbie needs
Yeah.
to go to Division F, and
Debbie, okay.
And
see
I'd like to
you
go
here.
to C, Ed.
Abe, Cynthia. Aha, I found you. C.
Once been lost and now it's found.
Ed, this is Sherry. I need to go to Division I, please.
Okay. Drew, George, I don't see. Oh, there we go. Division I.
In a way that they
Yeah, I haven't seen
feel comfortable
I'm not sent to my breakout room yet. This is Debbie.
Debbie.
F, Division F. Like
her
Frank.
name has iPhone in front of it. That's probably why.
run their businesses.
Yeah, I'm on my iPhone today.
There we go. And where do you want to go?
Division F, like Frank. Yeah.
Frank. Excellent. Okay, we've got Jubilee Hardwick, Abe, Cynthia, Hans. I think we've got everybody where they want to go, I think.
Jubilee wants to go to A.
Division A, yes.
Michelle is still in.
Stuck here. I need to get into Division D.
It says not joined.
It says not joined.
Yeah, well, there's no, you need to give me the join button again because it's not here anymore.
Oh,
I
well,
joined
then I have to,
and then I came back because nobody showed up.
okay, I have to move you out of D. You're
Okay.
in D, you just haven't joined.
Yeah, but I can't join anymore. There's no button to join.
Michelle, go down to the bottom controls where your mute is, and you'll see a button that says breakout rooms.
I know, I clicked on that.
Oh,
There's no way
okay.
to join that way.
This is an interesting conundrum.
Yes, it is, because, I have to take you out of D.
How about if I get out and come back into the meeting?
I think that's the best solution.
Yes.
That's power cycle.
Yeah.
All right, so I see
go.
Drew needs to go to E. I'm gonna send him.
Okay.
Let's see, Raul should go to E also, right? Am I wrong?
No, you're right. I'll put him there.
Okay.
Oh, and Michelle's back, so we'll put her in D.
Okay, great.
All right.
All right, good. So District Bucks has been a very large discussion point, and I don't feel like chats are a good way for us to keep track of all of the good comments and feedback. So I highly recommend that we run a town hall and just get all the feedback. And maybe it doesn't have to be a town hall. It could be a Word doc where people document all the different things. And then Tony, I mean, I keep calling you Tony, Michelle can then take that feedback and put it together as in themes and things, and then make structural changes to the program. Like that's I think a very important thing that we need to do.
Yep, I agree.
It's really interesting that we did concur training at every single training event, every single one of them.
Yes, we did.
There were some gripes. What I think we didn't do was we didn't talk enough about the District Bucks, the incentives. They just weren't there. So Carolyn and I, or the new team will talk about, maybe we talk more about incentives at the trainings and so forth. And like I say, maybe a town meeting, maybe some other kind of event, but obviously the word didn't get out. Now, part of the challenge is simply, it's a change. People don't like change. Gripe, 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 I want my paper back. Well, you're not gonna get your paper back. It ain't gonna happen.
No, I mean,
But we can make it easier. I'm sure we can.
Linda and I are working hard on closing the bank account because most districts do not have bank accounts. And for us to keep a bank account, it's like a really big overhead. I don't want to say it could be leading to fraud because it never would, because we have integrity, but it's not a good thing for us to have.
How do you work without a bank account?